This is Big Loz. I'm former Europe's strongest man, and today I've got me on Black of the Berry. Let's do that again. It was shit.
I liked it, but all right.
I liked it, though. Yeah, we can do it again. Yeah. All right, there we go.
On your cue.
You got it.
Hey, guys. Big Loz here, former Europe's strongest man, and today you have me on Black of the Berry.
Oh, shit, y'all. Listen. I am Dean. That over there is the Madman Los. And listen, we have the strongest motherfucker to ever embrace Black of the Berry's presence. We can say that confidently.
Yeah, for sure. No, for
None
sure.
of y'all as strong as this man. And you want to know why? I'm about to let y'all know why. Listen, coming from the UK, he is a proper professional strongman. In the building, he's an 11-time World Strongest Man competitor. He is the ultimate strongman world champion 2016, 2 times Britain's strongest man 2012, 2013, UK strongest man 2017, and Europe's strongest man from 2016. Y'all gonna put some motherfucking respect on my man Big Loz's name. Los, cue that fucking applause.
I need to take you to introduce me everywhere. That was amazing.
Listen, that is what we're here to do. We're here to have a good time and set it off.
Yes,
awesome.
Definitely the BTB strongest guest for sure. How do you and strongest beard too? I mean,
yeah, beard game is on.
Yeah, right now it's kind of got a mind of its own. Obviously, in lockdown over here, I haven't been able to see my dude and get me looking, real sharp. So
how is the lockdown over there?
Growing. It's easing up a little bit now, but it's still pretty strict. We can meet outside in groups of 6. That's as far as we got. So managed to do a little bit of training outside with some friends now, but for the most part, we're stuck at home, working from home. It's still not great, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a fact. They just started easing up restrictions for us in New York. Well, so the part of New York I'm in, you can eat outside now in restaurants. We're in the phase 2. We can have 10 people around us. Where Los and I are originally from, and our families currently are, they're still on lockdown. they can't go a goddamn place.
It's different in every state for you guys, isn't it?
Yeah. Some states don't give a damn. It's just they the wild west.
well, in the South, they're fully open. They're in phase 4. You can go out to eat in a restaurant. You can go to the gym. I'm just like, how are we doing this?
They're making it work, though.
What's the standard here? You know what I'm saying?
They're making it work. But you know what? Fuck all that COVID shit. I ain't here for that. You know what I want to talk about? You know what I'm saying? Listen, you know what? I do want to ask you something because for the people out there who don't know, Big Loz injured himself. It was last year? The year before last?
Yeah, last year's World's Strongest Man contest. I fully ruptured my Achilles trying to carry in pounds. I think it was about close to 1,400 pounds, something like that.
God damn. So when did you know that it was like, all right, because the Achilles runs all the way up to your hamstring, right?
It goes right instantly as soon as it happened, and my ass was on the floor. It was actually an event I'm a world record holder in, so it's called the Super Yoke. But we were told we were going to do a certain weight for a distance, so I'd been training that, and then we arrived, and they had an issue with one of the sponsors. They had to use this bit of kit. It was way heavier than they said it was going to be, and everyone was struggling with it. And it's one of those events I'm really fast and dynamic at moving with weights. It's always been a special kind of event for me. Picked the weight up, took a step. It was actually part of a medley, so we'd already done a farmer's walk into a 1,000-pound yoke. And then we had to do this 1,400 pound yoke. And I picked it up, took a step, and I just fell on my ass to the floor. It was fully ruptured. The 2 guys picked me up again, and I fell on my ass again. I couldn't put any weight on it. It was it was not a nice feeling because it was going to be my last World's Strongest Man anyway. To go out like that wasn't how I wanted it to end. But these things happen, and you pick yourself up afterwards.
So how are you recovering from that? How are you feeling now?
It's still not great. It's holding me back in some aspects. I'm back in the gym training, but just very recently, actually, I sort of changed my focus and my goals. So I still train. I'm trying to actually lose a bit of weight now, trying to bring my body weight down, doing a little bit of powerlifting, because the squat, bench, and deadlift are all okay. They're not affected too much. It's the strongman events that I'm really struggling with. So things like truck pulling, Atlas stones, pressing weights overhead, where you really get a lot of leg drive into. That's where I'm struggling with the Achilles. And I've been I've been thinking hard about it for a while. And I've decided to step back from competing, particularly for now. I want to focus more on business side of things, because I've had a great career. I really have. And, other than I've never won World's Strongest Man, I've pretty much won every other title there is to win. I've broken countless records. And I'm at an age now where I've got, a young family to think of. And I kind of been asking myself, do I want to keep pushing my body through, and it is excruciatingly hard to stay at the top level in any sport. I say I'm weak right now. I'm not weak, but for top level strongman, I'm weak. And
still massively stronger than anyone else.
I was about to say, I don't know. He probably could bench like 6 of me.
But in terms of that, like top level competition, I'm kind of stepping back now, focusing on. I do a lot of training. I've got my own gym that I'm setting up, a few other businesses that I'm focused on, and I'm quite happy having a different challenge now to focus on. So I still feel good. I'm happy with the decision to step back. And, as I help a lot of younger athletes, and, I'm enjoying that.
Listen, I was about to say, shout out to Big Laz. I'm actually, Laz is my strength coach online. He sends me some workouts, and I, talk to him, work through anything. I'm probably one of his most chill clients, because I just kind of go about it and do what I got to do.
You are a chill client, definitely. Definitely.
I just kind of do it, like, just kind of work
those
through it.
Those rare few chill clients are so good. They just make life much easier.
It gotta be nothing crazy, because it's like, listen, this is what you send me what to do. I do it. At the end of the month, just say, hey, listen, I don't think, this kind of hurt, and then, we just kind of move on from there.
The most important thing with training is you've got to enjoy it. We're not all going to be the world's strongest man. And I think some people forget that. They take their fun out of their training. They get so serious with it, and then they stop enjoying it. And, there's not a huge amount of money in strongman and powerlifting and those type of sports. So if you're not having fun with it, there's no point in doing it.
And that's like anything in life.
Oh, 100%.
And speaking of that, since we're already kind of in this field, we might as well just stay here. I want, speaking of strongman, when was the moment that you knew that you were just stupid fucking strong? Like when did you just kick in for you? Like, I could rip some of you motherfuckers in half if I wanted. when did that click with you? And you just like, I'm gonna go really do it for a living.
Honestly, I was always strong as a kid. At school.
I was about to say.
Yeah, I was a big, strong kid. In England, we play rugby. It's similar to American football, but we don't need the padding.
And y'all get after it.
Yeah, no, it's if I was born in America, American football would have been the sport for me, because I was very explosive, very fast over short bursts, and obviously big and strong and powerful. But even though I'm big, I'm quite athletic and mobile. I can, I've got good agility, or I certainly used to. Maybe not so much now with the Achilles. But that would have been like the sport I think I would have been pushing. But in England, rugby was the sport I really got into, and I played at a high level. Then, believe it or not, I went into table tennis, which I wasn't suited to at all. Yeah, ping pong. I was an okay table tennis player, but it wasn't for me. And I went from table tennis then to strongman training. So very strange.
That's great.
All over the place.
Yeah. So no, I've actually I was British champion at Kung Fu as a kid. Got into rugby. Played rugby for like what you call it, like regional level, and then table tennis, then strongman.
Okay, so people who don't, for our American viewers, we're gonna break it down for y'all. He was kicking ass as a child. Right. Then he did it at the college level. Right. Then after that, he became professional, and he was still kicking ass. Los, cue the applause one more time.
But I was just about to say, that's all different types of like coordination. It's like you're playing rugby, and it's like it's physical and you're using your whole body. Then you're like, table tennis is like you're like how do you like hone all that in? It's like using 100% and then using like 30%.
Yeah,
so,
it's
and then 100% again.
I think when you're naturally a good athlete, you can adapt to whatever sport you want to do. You know, a lot of people will look at strongmen, for instance, and go, "Oh, they're big. They're too heavy. They'll be slow." And it's quite the opposite. You know, we're quite fast, explosive athletes, but we then train specifically for what we're training for. So you get like Brian Shaw came from a basketball background. You know, Hafthor was the same. He had a basketball background. Eddie Hall had a swimming background. I had a big sporting background. Most of the top guys come from other sports, and then they adapt their training, and you know, you get good at what you focus on. But I was always able to, if I liked something, it was easy for me. I just enjoyed it, and then you want to get better at it. And I was always better at the sporting side of things than the academic side of things at school. Just
we hear you. Listen, both of us played. Listen, both of us played college football. You know what I mean? So we definitely understand that, you know, you're just having fun with it, you know, just kind of going hard with it. But I want to break it down for the people who don't know. Listen, who don't follow strongman. Big Laz is about 6'2", you're 6'2", right?
Yeah.
Or 6'3"? 6'2", and then I would say, like, you know, your competition weight was around 350, 360?
Yeah, I've been up 360, 350 was like a good weight for me. I've been up as high as 370, and I start feeling like death. And, you know, my weight fluctuated through my career. I went sort of probably down to 300 at one point. I got a lot leaner, but found I was just giving away too much body weight to some of the monsters. So around the 350 mark was kind of my good competition weight.
Speaking of monsters, you have beaten some monsters as well. Like, you've beaten Thor.
I've had my day.
Yeah. Listen, for people, you beat Thor. You beat Eddie Hall too as well.
I've beaten them all on my day.
You beaten Mark Felix. Everybody has gotten it. Everybody has gotten the wrath from Laz. No disrespect to y'all, but it was what it was.
So tell me about that, because you've beaten everybody, your peers, and it's like you've never gotten the title of, you know, World's Strongest Man. Is that like a background to you?
No, it's like any sport, you know. You look at like a sport like tennis or something like that. They have lots of competitions throughout the year, and all the players on their day can beat each other. But it's then bringing it to the main competition. I guess the best competition for me was Europe's Strongest Man 2016, because Hafthor was the heavy favorite. He was going into that competition as the reigning two-time champion. No one was talking about me. I was kind of like, I knew the events were good for me. And that's another thing with strongman, is every competition has different events. So one competition can suit you a lot more than another. And I knew with those events I had a great chance. I went and broke 2 world records that day in the frame carry and the car walk. My other events were really good. And Hafthor made a mistake, and I was in there, you know, I did what I needed to do to get the victory.
Listen, y'all gonna put some respect on his name.
So speak to that. What was your favorite event? Like, what was your favorite, like, actual, your favorite event?
I always loved like the car walk, because I kind of look like Fred Flintstone running along kind of with his car. But yeah, you've got this car, they cut off the top of it and the bottom, and they take the engine out, but it still weighs, I think it was 1,100 pounds approximately.
Jesus Christ.
The frame.
Yeah, but because of the shape of the car, it's actually really awkward, because the weight kind of swings forwards and sideways. So you really need a lot of core strength. Pick it up, and then I was just, you know, first time I picked up a yoke, I was pretty quick with it. And then I trained it really. I really focused on being fast rather than just lifting more weight. So it was always about foot speed for me. And I think I've broken at least over 10 world records in those type of events over the years. And, you know, in my prime, I genuinely believed I was the best in the world at that event. There's guys like Kilias Koski. He's maybe taken over. He's an extremely
he's a different kind of he's a different
he's an animal.
He's a different dude.
He's like the Terminator of strongman. But yeah, for about 5 to 10 years, I was the man on those type of events.
So you know what? Speaking, because you spoke about earlier, just like, you know, how there is different competitions within strongman. That brings me to another point. Another question I want to ask. What do you think about, like, you know, and for the people, let me explain this. So with strongman, they have different leagues, effectively, for us Americans, for us easy to understand. You have the World Ultimate Strongman, then you have World Strongest Man, then you have the Arnolds, and then you also have a few other, and then you have Giants Live, then you have, like, you know, and then a few other different, you know, just depending on the year, what's going on, like, you know, who may decide to sponsor an event. So you have all these different events, different leagues, but everybody runs their league their own way. There is no one governing body that governs everybody.
There's no governing body in strongman, no.
None at all, people. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that there needs to be a governing body in strongman, especially with everything over these, over this past, I would say 3 months?
I think it's kind of moving to that kind of stage where something needs to happen to not just protect the athletes, but to protect the sport as a whole, because it's very easy for any promoter to just put on a contest, and then it waters down the sport a little bit. When it's a bit like boxing, I guess, where you've got like 5 or 6 different federations. You can have 5 world champions at the same time. So ideally you want all the best guys going head to head in the same contest, abiding by the same rules. So it'd be nice to see some kind of, not necessarily a unification, but some kind of rules that they all have to follow and adhere to try and get some consistency across the board. Because like you say, one competition can run things one way, another competition can do it another way, and everyone has, I guess, a different view of what they think strongman should be. So I would like to see maybe a few real kind of experienced people in the sport, promoters, as well as maybe some older athletes, all get together, talk about what needs to be done, and come up with some kind of standard that everyone has to adhere to.
That definitely, I think that'll definitely help push the sport forward. And I have one other question on that, because everybody has their own different rules and way to do things. In regards to 2 competitions, I'm thinking of the Arnold and the World's Strongest Man.
Yeah.
Now, the World's Strongest Man is called the World's Strongest Man, but the Arnold is known as the heaviest event. I'm assuming like that the Arnold is the heaviest event. So my question is, and listen, y'all, y'all get in the comments, let us know, maybe you can tell me to fuck off, whatever it is. But this is how I feel. Wouldn't that make the Arnold winner the World's Strongest Man, technically, when you really think about it? Like, I wouldn't even need to win WSMM. Like, as long as I win the Arnold, like, it's kind of like that's my claim to fame, right?
That all depends on what you kind of class as strength, because then you could get into the argument that the best Olympic lifter is the strongest man in the world, or the best power lifter is the strongest man in the world. The way I see it, I treat it a bit like tennis, where you've got you've got 4 Grand Slams in tennis. You have Wimbledon, the French Open where they play on clay, Wimbledon where it's on grass. They've got the US Open, the Australian Open. It's all different surfaces that they play on. It's still tennis, but there's slightly different athletes that are better on certain surfaces.
Right.
And you have strength athletes that are slightly different, It's the guys that can do everything. So the guys like, Federer, for instance, in tennis, who won every single major, you see them as the greats. Someone like Zadrunas, who's won World's Strongest Man. He's won the Arnolds. He's won countless competitions. Brian Shaw, he's won lots of competitions. Those kind of guys you have to see as the greats of the sport, because they can do it all. Whereas there's some people that specialize in one or the other. You can get a powerlifter do really well at the Arnolds, for instance, but then be rubbish at World's Strongest Man. But those guys that can do it all, they're the ones that are going to, go down as the greats of the sport. And, whether they're the world's strongest man or not, you get my point. Is, when you're good at it, then you're going to be seen as the best. But I agree. I think I don't think World's Strongest Man has the weight that it used to have in terms of the world title. I think some of the one-day shows, I mean, the Arnolds, obviously, I think the World Ultimate Strongman, in terms of prize money as well, those shows are ahead of World's Strongest Man. So I don't think World's Strongest Man has the weight that it once did when it was just the one major contest.
Definitely agree with you on that one.
So I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
I don't know. I'm going to take it back to the beginning. Like, how did you even get into strongman? How did you realize that this is a viable option for you? It was after table tennis. So you just
I was playing table tennis, yeah. But I loved watching strongman on TV from a very young age. I was always fascinated by these big, strong guys, and I always loved watching kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger films, Sylvester Stallone films. Those kind of
big muscle guys.
Yeah. You just that's what I want to be when I'm older.
Badass.
And I was watching World's Strongest Man on TV at Christmas time, like it's always on at Christmas in the UK, and I just said. I literally turned around to my family and was like, I'm going to be a strongman. And they're like, okay, whatever. And I joined the gym like a few weeks later and set myself sights on competing in a strongman comp. I found a novice competition to do, trained for it, didn't do well. I did okay, but I made a lot of mistakes. And within 3 years, I qualified for my first World's Strongest Man. So my progress was very, very quick. And like I said, I had a good sporting background. I was always naturally pretty strong from all the kind of activity I did as a youngster. And I transitioned, nicely into strongman. I wasn't the best in terms of the powerlifting strength to start with, but that natural ability to move with big weights, I was always very good. I always had a good strong grip. I always had big strong legs, and then I developed the kind of gym strength on top of that to become, elite level athlete.
I'm just imagining you on the football field, man. You would be a crazy linebacker. You'd be sick. You'd be a menace.
Linebacker. I'm thinking of him as like either a ridiculous stout nose tackle or a ridiculous guard where he's just like bumping, thumping motherfuckers.
And that brings me to this. So your competition weight is like, what'd you say, around 350. So like, what is your normal carrying?
Between 350, 360, he said. So maybe let's say 355 for argument's sake.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
when I'm not training, I'm still around 340, 350. I'm just softer.
Oh, okay. All right. So I thought you bulked off at least 60 pounds. I thought you armored up when you.
No. I just get softer. That's all. I just get cuddly.
Okay. So you're gonna have to be in the trenches. You're gonna have to be in the trenches. You're too big not to be.
Yeah.
Exactly. Listen, the coach will see him and be like, "Oh, nah, we need this. We need this." So you know what I do. I want to take a little bit of a turn real fast, people, because there's something I do want to get your thoughts on. Because when I saw it, I was like half of me was like, I have a feeling the way that this was cut, they didn't even contact him. And for people out there, I'm gonna. So
I know what you're gonna ask.
Yeah. So what I'm saying, people, is So for some of our Black of the Berry fans out there, some of y'all follow from us, some of y'all don't. So I'm gonna give y'all the scoop. Right now, there's been a beef with Eddie Hall and Hafthor Julius Burgeon. Hafthor. I'm sorry, my bad, Hafthor. Him and Eddie, been kind of going back and forth professionally for a while, but it had, the start of it was in 2017. There was a controversy allegedly with the World's Strongest Man. Eddie Hall won. That created a contentious relationship between him and Thor, because Thor went out, was, saying whatever the case may be. Fast forward. Now we're in 2020. The two men are scheduled to fight. There was a video. Yeah, they're going to fight for $1 million. Yes, they're going to fight for $1 million. And this happens
like
after.
Box or like UFC?
Boxing.
Okay.
And this is happening after Hafthor broke Eddie Hall's deadlift record. Eddie Hall deadlifted 500 kilograms. Hafthor did 501 at the home gym, which even pissed Eddie off even more. So now we
Why is he doing this? Why is Hafthor doing this?
Hold on. Just hold on. We're not done yet. So Andrew Quinn, he is an ex-producer from The World's Strongest Man. He did a video because the whole big beef, everybody kept saying, was the Viking press. The real, the two issues they said with 2017 was that, they said that Eddie was talking with the promoter and knew the events ahead or changing events up allegedly. And then also there was an issue with the Viking press, and Thor thought that he was cheated. Andrew Quinn released a video. Y'all, it's down, but if you look on Eddie Hall's channel, you can go view it on there. I'm just going to let y'all look at it and you can draw your own thing. In the video, they had a quote from Big Loss. And, they just basically, Thor just was saying, Thor. Big Loss basically just said that he just thinks that Eddie Hall would have won that year regardless, and that Thor just had some yes men around him that may have got to his head. That's what he said. But you can tell, and us who are in, who do audio, visual, who do production and stuff like that, when something's cut. You can tell that the way it came on, it was just cut. Like you don't get the full before and after. All they did is they took that portion of it. So my question to you is, you see, so did anybody reach out to you? Were you bamboozled like the rest of us? Because when it happened, I was offended for you, and I didn't even know if they contacted you or not. I was just like, oh, this is bullshit.
They definitely didn't contact me about it, and to be quite honest, I saw it and I didn't really care too much because it wasn't anything that I'd ever hidden. I'm actually friends. Well, I consider myself friends with Thor, and he in 2017 he was very, very upset about what happened, and I understand why he's upset, because sometimes you see with events like with Viking Press and stuff like that, they can there's some dodgy calls that go your way and sometimes they don't. But Hafthor went before Eddie Hall, and I've always said this. Hafthor went before Eddie. Eddie went and did what he needed to do to win. I believe if Hafthor was given the rep, I still believe Eddie Hall would have done another rep. So that's why I don't think he had an argument. It wasn't as if he went after Eddie and then,
solidified it.
And I mean, you may have seen on my YouTube channel, I had a chat with Thor's coach, and we spoke about this, and Thor's coach was really pleased with how he did on the event. Thor was happy, and I've got a lot of respect for Thor's coach. I've got a lot of respect for Thor. I've got a lot of respect for a number of the people in Thor's team. But one thing he had that year was a lot of friends that came to watch him. Now, I've got friends that will come and watch me, and they're always going to, they blow smoke up your ass. They're like, oh, you were amazing, Loz, blah, blah, blah. They don't know anything about the sport, and I might be disappointed with something, but they'll be like, oh, no, it was great. Because to them, it is great. And, I'm their hero. They're going to say what you want to hear. But in that situation, you don't need that. You need people to be honest with you. And, Thor's got a very, very, good friend, and a guy called Stefan Solvi Pettersson, who I have a huge amount of respect for. And
he's an ex-strongest man competitor, right?
Yes, he's a very good strongman competitor himself. Really cool guy and understands the sport very well. He was never saying anything. He knew what happened. He's there. He's supporting his friend, but he isn't someone just that's going to tell you you're great for no reason. And same with Thor's coach. He kind of. They go in there to focus on an event. And the whole documentary is focused on that one event. And that event, Eddie won it. There's no arguing it. Thor was upset, put something up online. I messaged him saying, you should take that down. It's not cool, And Thor was up. You got to remember with Thor, he was a young man at the time. He's got the language barrier. And Thor's, his language is okay, but he does sometimes it's certain words with the translation where he'll struggle. He said some stupid stuff. He really did. But I can show you any sport tool. Look at Michael Jordan. How upset has he been at times in basketball?
Last Dance documentary, they showed you that.
Go back and look at John McEnroe when he was playing tennis. That guy got angry all the time. But he's a hero now. People love him, and I'm sure you can watch it on the football field. Athletics. Things happen. Athletes are passionate. We're all passionate when we're competing. You put your heart and soul into it. He said something stupid. He posted it up. He took it down, realized it was stupid, calmed down, knuckled down with his training, and came back as probably the greatest strongman ever in 2018 and won the World's Strongest Man title. Losing 2017 was probably a good thing for him in the long run. But the issue with the documentary, it didn't show anything like it shouldn't have shown in terms of, Eddie deserved the win. And I say that 100%. I've said it from the moment he won. I was in that competition myself. I placed 7th, competed in it. So I know exactly what went on. He won that competition fair and square. But then for these guys to bring it up 3 years later, unless it's just trying to build heat for the boxing match, I don't really understand it. That's my only issue with it. And no, just to answer your question, no, I wasn't asked if they could use that clip. So, it was a shock to all of us when we saw it. I don't really get why there's so much hatred between the two of them. Eddie's gone on to be an incredible, strongman, obviously, but he's done incredibly well since strongman as well. Hafthor's done extremely well. He's obviously been in Game of Thrones. He's in a number of movies. He's got, advertisement. He's doing really well for himself. They don't like each other. That's fair enough. But all this kind of bullshit, I don't really kind of get. If you've got the bullshit, get in the ring and sort it out, and we'll all look forward to watching it.
That is, sure. And know what?
I'm interested. What is it going to come on? Like, is it going to be like streaming? Is it how? What is the promotion on this thing?
No, this is a proper. This is going to be a proper boxing match.
It's going to be a big event.
Sports. Yep. Yes, son. This is going to be crazy.
I think it's September 2021.
Yep. Personally, and you know what? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Laz.
I was going to say they've got over a year to train for it, and they both need it because if you watch some of their footage, to be fair, I think Eddie's better than Thor right now when you look at the footage. Mm-hmm. But they're both great athletes. They're gonna, and they're both very determined men. That's one thing I'll say about both of them. They are extremely determined. They are willing to do whatever it takes, and they will dedicate the next year and however many months to being the best they can be on that night.
Speaking of those two, my household is actually divided because of that. So I am Team Eddie. just because like y'all who know me, y'all know I'm only 5'8". I was offensive lineman, so I had to go wrestle guys, who were large in size, but they were not a fraction of his strength. So I've always had that chip on my shoulder, and I just, naturally, like big people, you know how I am, Los. I just don't really, naturally, like big people, I either like you or I really hate you. There's no in between of it. So I feel Eddie when he's like, six, like, he's the underdog in this, and everybody's always been talking shit, whatever. So I'm feel Eddie's plight. Motherfucking Justin is fucking going for fucking Thor, like hardcore. Like hardcore. Like this shit is gonna be like the day that fight happens, this house is gonna be like, I'm gonna have to buy Eddie Hall shirt, he's gonna have to buy a Thor shirt, and we just gonna have to just just put
you're gonna have to reenact the fight.
Listen, Eddie winning. Eddie's winning. I ain't going out like that. You heard?
That's funny. That's funny.
I think the best thing about this fight will be the build-up. I don't know about the actual fight, but the build-up should be fun.
Yo, you know what? And then
I was like, it's like McGregor and Mayweather.
And Floyd, yeah. But you know what? Though I do think somebody's gonna get knocked out. I think somebody's gonna get knocked out.
Really?
They're like 300 pounds plus. They're heavyweights. These are super heavyweights. Right?
Yeah. I think whoever gets tired first. They're both
gonna be so tired after the first round.
That's 3 minutes.
They really
right. They might be.
They're gonna lose weight, but they're still gonna be monsters amongst men when it comes to body weight in terms of a boxer.
That's what I'm saying. They're like going to be like, what, 280?
No. Go up. First of all, Thor is – Eddie's going to be like around 280 to 315, I think. Thor is going to probably be like around 350 because Thor was like 420 now, 440.
Thor was 440, maybe 450 when he did his deadlift. It's a big amount of weight to drop. And even then, they both carry so much muscle. I don't know how much kind of combat sports you guys have done in the past, but I've done a little bit. And it's just the adrenaline that kind of kills you. When you've got that much muscle, it tires you out quickly. You don't see big, bulky fighters for a reason. And there's so much technique involved. I mean, the fact they're fighting each other makes it okay in my book. But if they were going to fight a professional boxer, I'd be like, this is ridiculous. It's a joke. but it's basically, because they're both coming from strongman, I think that, it's an even playing field. So I have no issue.
So before we go to commercial break, and then we'll be right back for your people, we do want to get this one question. Who are you going for then? Not who are you going for? Who do you think is going to win, I should say? We don't put you like that. Who do you think is going to win? As of this moment.
Just solely looking at the prep so far, I think Eddie looks better. I think he looks like a more accomplished fighter right now. But like I said, they've got a year to train for it. And to be quite honest, I don't really care who wins. I just want to be there watching it and maybe get involved in the commentary.
Yo, listen.
That would be awesome.
And you know what? Speaking of commentary, we're going to come back here after this commercial break, and we are going to be talking about Big Loz's commentary because he has been the voice that has been carrying us through this quarantine, all of us strength fans, through all of the World Ultimate Strongman competitions and the ones in the future. So we're going to get into that after this commercial break. We are Black of the Berry, and we will be back, bitches. We are back, people. Welcome to Black of the Berry. I am Dean. That is the Madman Los. That right there is the big homie, Big Loz in the building. So, quick question for you, Loz. You have been the voice to get strength fans and strength athletes through these quarantine times, through the World Ultimate Strongman competitions, with, the feats of strength they've been putting on. Because you were doing a little commentating before this happened, and then now you got into this. So, can we just talk about your commentating? Like, how did this even begin for you?
So the commentating is something I've wanted to do for a long time. Actually, the first time I ever did it was alongside Colin Bryce, who I think is, he's been a great commentator for strongman, particularly in the UK, and learned some stuff off him. And I've always had an interest in wanting to do something involved in the sport once I finished competing. The opportunity to do the live stream commentating for the World Ultimate Strongman in Dubai last year came up. The guys from WUS invited me. It was me and Eddie Hall. We went and did the commentating together. Really enjoyed it. And then obviously, when lockdown happened, the world kind of like stopped. The guys at Worcester decided they wanted to try and keep putting some feats of strength out there. They invited a number of their kind of athletes on their roster to attempt records. And they approached me about doing some commentating for the Thor stream. And then they decided they were going to run the whole kind of, series, and they wanted me to do the lot. So the one with Thor went down pretty well. And then they just booked me in for the rest of them. So I just stumbled across the chance, really, but I'm enjoying it.
First of all, let me tell you what, you've been killing it. But I can't wait for one pairing. There is one pairing I can't wait for. That's when Julius Maddox goes for his 800-pound bench press, and we get CT motherfucking Fletcher and Big Loz commentating. That shit is going to be all. You better get it, motherfucker. You better get that shit, motherfucker. Who coming in second? Motherfucker?
Yeah, Julius can't stop at one rep that day.
Yeah. Yo, if Julius doesn't get that, I don't even know how
insane is that, though? 800-pound raw bench press.
And then what is he? He's at the current record of 757 right now.
Just ridiculous.
And he's benching 800. This whole thing has been crazy. You had Thor, who did the 501 kilogram deadlift.
Yeah. Then
you had Luke Stoltman, who attempted a 230 kilogram log lift. He didn't get it, but I'll be interested to see him in competition because he's going to get that soon. He's like right there with it. But his younger brother, Tom Stoltman, this motherfucker, what was it, a 285 kilogram stone?
Yeah, 286, yeah.
286 kilogram stone. He picked it up and just put it over it's fucking insane.
He made it look easy as well. He really did.
And this is for the people who don't know, because a lot of our friends are in the metric system. So, you know what I mean? Like, you got to...
he's going for a 660-pound stone. That's his next goal, 660.
Think about that.
That's insane.
Atlas stone, not deadlift. Atlas stone.
Which is a fucking stone, people.
It's a lump of rock. Yeah.
So this guy can just walk around and just pick up rocks. You know what I'm saying?
Pick shits up and put it down. He does what the fuck he wants.
Yeah, people kept there was a little debate going on Facebook the other day. People were like, who would you call if you were stuck under some, if earthquake happened, you're stuck under some rock. Who'd you call, Eddie or Thor? I was like, Tom Stoltman.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Get y'all out of here. Tom, thank you. Appreciate your help here. Then you had Lexi Novikov. He did the world record dumbbell press for reps, and I forgot the weight amount on that one.
So that was 220 pounds.
220 pounds. He was picking up 220 pounds, which is like literally
me.
11 pounds away from me. It's 11 pounds away from me. He's just
one hand.
Yeah.
He did it for 11?
That's
11
insane.
reps, yeah. Very, very impressive.
11 reps. And then you had the young lady today. I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
Yeah, Rhiannon Lovelace.
Rhiannon Lovelace. She is now the women Atlas Stone record holder.
She got the lightweight record, so she didn't get the heavyweight record.
Oh, excuse me.
No, I know what those girls are like. They'll get feisty if you take their records from them.
You're right. So. You know what though? And there's one person I don't want to have no problems with, but we definitely want to have you on here, Andrea Thompson, Miss Andrea Thompson.
Yeah. Andrea Thompson, come on down.
She set the women's deadlift world record at the Arnold's.
Oh,
Big Lies. I will be talking to you because yes, definitely. Yes, Lies. Because when Andrea, first of all, let me tell you something. So everybody who watched Black to Berry, y'all know I'm black as shit. So when Andrea Thompson was when I was watching the Arnold's live and I had it on my television, and Andrea Thompson was going for the deadlift, I was fucking playing The Revolution Will Not Be Televised. Just like I was like, you better get it, girl. You better motherfucking get it.
She's awesome. She's such a lovely lady as well.
She is great.
She doesn't have an ego. She's just a kind-hearted person, but damn, she's strong. She doesn't even realize how strong she is.
when I was watching her, like, so when she won, it just made me do a dumpster dive into who she was. Like, I follow her on like Instagram, and I was like, yeah, she's like Andrew Thompson. I'm a fan forever. But I was like watching her do other interviews. I think it was even at the Arnold where they was like, hey, like, were you like kind of worried about the other girls? And she was just like, I know they were going to be strong. I had to do what I had to do, and you know, and I got it, and I'm happy. And I was like, you just did 660 pounds, sister.
Just blind to the competition, like
660 pounds. People,
crazy.
Y'all understand that? She will. Most of y'all who are listening, she would beat the shit out of you.
She's going for the log record as well soon. So she's going for the log record on the
on July 4th.
There you go.
On July 4th, she's going for the log record, and I will be watching. I know we're supposed to be, not on, but I'm watching Andrea Thompson. I'm supporting my sister. I don't give a fuck. I said I'm supporting my sister, Andrea Thompson.
Listen, I don't know. What's the attempt for the log record? How much?
So she is going for 130 kilos. So
I'll get the conversion on that.
Yeah.
I'm like, shit, it sounds like a lot.
Yeah,
I'm not good at math though, so
286. So for people who don't know, she's gonna take 286 pounds. It's gonna be a log. She's gonna roll the log up to her thighs. She's gonna bounce it up or press it up to her chest. Yep, hand clean up to her chest. And she's gonna press it up, and she's gonna wait for Big Z to give her the down signal. And everybody knows Big Z.
That's a slow man. I absolutely love Z. I've just had the pleasure of interviewing him on my channel, and he's such a lovely man. But damn, he made those rules strict for Luke when he went for the log. You just saw his hand up there, and you just knew it wasn't going to come down no matter what.
he also ref one of your competitions, and he got you as well, right?
Oh yeah,
he had you waiting there for a little bit.
Yeah, but the good thing with Zydrunas, he's strict on everyone. And you do need that. If I was talking about this, the strongman contest, or not just strongman, any sport, you can't blame the athlete if the referee says good lift, or you're given a goal in football or a touchdown or whatever. If the referee says it's good, you take it. So it's hard being the referee, but you need to be strict on everyone, because when you give away those sloppy records, people are going to bitch and moan about it.
That's a fact. And then we shout out to Big Z for, being the gatekeeper. Appreciate you, big homie.
Sure.
Now, Los, you wanted to get into some stuff with
I mean, I because I'm like a UK fanatic, especially I'm just like, especially in London.
We'll get you guys over. You come and train with me. We'll have a good time.
Yeah, listen, we got a following out there, so we've already planned it out. We're like, listen, we have 10% of our listeners are in London, so we have to go there. We have to go just to support.
Definitely.
So I'm just curious on like the culture, the environment, the different places. My parents, my dad is big on soccer. He loves Premier League, so it's like I have to understand what's all going on over there. I'm just like
right now everything's stopped.
Well, yeah, of course. But in a perfect world, where like what would be the place to go, and like what are the kind of things to do out there and stuff like that?
It all depends what you're kind of interested in. I mean, London's always good. London as a tourist is a great place. Actually, where I live is quite good. I'm not that far from. I don't know if you guys have heard of Stonehenge. So it's like the
I haven't. Only thing I know is Stoke-on-Trent, because Eddie kept saying it all the time.
Hey, Stoke, I'm sure it's Stoke is a unique place. If you like darts, Stoke is a place to go. They've got the greatest darts player of all time. But the interesting thing with the UK is you can move in a small amount, 1 hour drive down the road, and the accents change dramatically. We've got so many different kind of areas where everyone has a different type of accent. If you go up to Scotland, absolutely beautiful place. If you want to see scenery and stuff like that, the north of England is absolutely gorgeous. London is great for tourism. You've got obviously the Palace, the Eye, the London Eye, things like that. But you probably kind of tell from the way I'm talking. I'm like a country bumpkin. I live in my little area, and I guess I take it for granted the beautiful spots that we do have, because England is a beautiful country. There's a lot of lovely, lovely places to go to. But I think the last kind of 10, 15 years, I've been so focused on being the best I can be in my career as an athlete. You get those like tunnel vision where you're just focused, and it's only really now I'm starting to try and enjoy life a bit more. You know, next year I want to take my kids away and be able to go on roller coasters and stuff with them. I've always been the one that I've just got to stand there watching. Whereas now I'm bringing my body weight down. I'm trying to do more with the family. You know, more experience nice things. I love traveling, and that's the one thing Strongman did give me, is that I got to go all over the world and see some incredible places. But it's only now, I guess, that I'm sort of looking at how beautiful certain parts of England are. And even just during this lockdown, we're going for more walks. When I was competing, I never walked anywhere. It was like, 2 minutes down the road, I'd drive. I've got to save that energy for lifting. But now I'm enjoying kind of, going for strolls. We're finding new areas, just even where we live. There's so much beautiful countryside. So that side of things is nice, but it's a very unique country. I think that you can go a small area and it can be, completely different. It's very unique in that respect.
I have a question in regards to, the UK, and it regards the Queen. Can you explain to me, as an American who has, our political structure over here, one, it's different.
Isn't it the Parliament really that has? Is the?
Well, yeah, they have the Parliament over there, but then also the Queen, though, she's like
the Queen is like the head of state, and she's an amazing for our tourism. She really is. There's a lot of respect for the Queen over here. A lot of people really love the royal family. There's people that don't as well. There's people that say, why have we still got a royal family? But I think what she does for the country and the amount of tourism she brings, she's a good. I mean, all the kind of decisions that are done at Downing Street. We've got the Prime Minister,
Boris Johnson, right?
Yeah. I mean, Johnson, I thought he was doing a good job until recently, where I don't know if you guys have seen the news over here, but some of their rules that they set out for the COVID situation it's all right. It's all right for them to do what they want to, and the rest of us.
Yeah, his cabinet member was going. Cabinet member was going like cross town for whatever reason.
Apparently, he had bad eyes, and he went for a 60-mile drive just to test his eyes. And rather than me personally, I don't care about stuff like that. If you're going to go for a drive, all right, I get it. But when you are the people making the rules and you can't stick to it,
by them,
then how can you expect the rest of us? And they've done nothing about it. So I think they're going to lose a lot of kind of votes and following and support, because if there is a second wave of this in the winter, people aren't going to listen now. And that's the problem. You're seeing it now. They have restricted certain aspects of the lockdown now. So like I said, you can meet outside in groups of 6, but I've seen people just doing what they want to do now. People have got fed up of it. And I guess I think the reason the kind of numbers have gone down is because it's the summer now, and flu type things do die down in the summer. And if there is a big increase in the winter, it's going to be worse. So
and has there, like, because of the social climate that we're facing in right now, how has this, like, the COVID and now these protests and stuff, how has it been affecting you in your area? Or do you see it on the news? Or
I see it on the news. There was a protest actually in my town today in Swindon. We there was a
shout out Swindon.
Yeah, definitely. And it's every city now is kind of getting behind it, and it's mainly remained pretty peaceful in the UK, to be honest. I know I've seen you guys on the news. It's been getting quite bad in certain parts.
It's like purge, like savagery type stuff, man.
It's a shame, because you get people kind of doing it for the wrong reasons.
The message is mixed.
They actually over here they just found out. So the Trump administration said that they've been able to tie Antifa to some of the violence, but then also too, if you somebody like myself who looks at the news, then you'll know that the Boogaloo boys have also been appointed, saying that they've been trying to incite things too, and they've been trying to incite things since people were protesting after COVID. And then for people who don't know, the Boogaloo boys, that's that's going to be your far right counterpart to Antifa on the left. So y'all Americans, y'all can figure that out. So
I saw something like that where it was a group of people, like, how like New York City have like the chain, like the fence over the building, over the establishment. They were cutting a fence over to like a jeweler place. And I'm just like,
yeah,
what?
these people,
Who has this type of machinery?
These are people who just are leeches and they just joined onto the movement for negative reasons.
You know, I think being in COVID has probably made it worse because, you know, people have lost jobs. They've kind of, you know, it's been desperate times for a lot of people. And now with this kicking off, unfortunately, people are taking advantage of it in a way that it's really not helping anyone.
No, right. Yeah. It's definitely got it all, it's got it all over going crazy. But shout out to the U.S. We've, you know, now we're having this conversation on qualified immunity now with cops. So, you know, the Supreme Court's going to be looking into that. So shout out to us if they get that off. Oh, it's real. This is what I'm talking about. But all right, well, listen, we're gonna go back onto Big Laws and you know, stuff on that. Listen, y'all can listen to other episodes about
I'm interested in your diet right now because there's a lot of things over there that you guys are very conscious of your sugar levels and stuff like that. You don't have
our food is so much better than ours
and shit. Like what you know what I'm saying? Like what, you know,
I actually love coming to the States and going shopping. I love going to like a Walmart or something and just firstly looking at some of the people in there because that's always fun.
Has the weirdos.
Yeah. But also the variety of stuff that you guys have. It's insane. You go to like the Pringle section. In the UK, we got like 5-6 flavors, you know, standard flavors. You guys have like a whole shop full of different flavored Pringles, you know? And it's the same with everything.
The pizza flavor, I'm like, wow.
Yeah, pizza flavor and, you know, ice cream flavor, all sorts of stuff. I mean, I love it, and my wife loves it as well. Every time we come to the States, she just wants to go shopping. Whereas in the UK, I try and get the shopping done real quickly. I know what I want, and it's like, let's just get through this and get what we need. But she loves it, you know, just seeing all the different things that you guys have.
How has it? Because I know that they have like a little bit of strict gun laws over there in the UK. So how was it in your first time in a Walmart when you realized you can get your groceries and a shotgun in the same spot?
It's an interesting store to think like how many different things you can get in there.
But it really is like a haven. You're like, wow. Like you don't know if you need something in your house, you either go to Walmart or.
I've actually a couple of the World's Strongest Man contests that we did in the States. A few of the strongmen would kind of like, you know, go to a superstore, and we'd all just be like big kids. But I remember, I can't remember what year it was, but myself, a guy called Rob Frampton. There was a really great strongman, Mike Jenkins. He sadly passed away a few years ago, but he was an unbelievable strongman.
R.I.P. Mike Jenkins.
And a guy called what was his name? He's a guy from from Australia, Derek Boyer. He's another good strongman. And the four of us were in Walmart. We were just like four monstrously big kids running around. Look at this! Look at this! Rob Frampton is just a kid. If you've never seen that guy, he's extremely funny. And he was kind of getting the cheesy kind of puff crisps, or were they Cheetos or something like that?
Yeah.
But it wasn't even a bag; it was like a tub of them, and he was just walking around with it on his head, like it was. He just replaced his head with his tub. He'd kind of like come behind you and he'd just be looking at you with this.
That's crazy, and that's like that's amazing to see. You know, the little cultural differences.
No. My diet, you're kind of asking about. When I was competing, I very similar to like the vertical diet. I kept it very, very simple: meats, rice, you know, just basic food. Whereas right now, I'm eating kind of anything I like, but much less calories than normal. When I say much less, I'm eating about 4,000 calories a day. Whereas when I'm competing, you're looking at about 6,000 calories. I mean, you'll hear stories of guys saying they eat 10, 15, 20, 30, you know. They're talking bullshit.
Yeah.
I am going to do a 20,000 calorie eating challenge. Just
for how long?
I just want just in one day. I'm going to try and eat 20,000 calories, and I'm going to try not to put myself in hospital. That's the kind of main goal.
That's a lot,
I've seen Brian do the 20,000 calorie challenge. I think Eddie may have did one.
Eddie's done a few, yeah.
Yeah, and then Eddie and his wife has switched, which has been hilarious. And I think there was one other person I think I saw do 20,000. I think Terry Hollins did 20,000.
So how would you attempt to do this? Like, what are we eating? A lot of starches?
He eats a whole bunch of shit.
I'm going to have to just eat shit because there's no way I'm going to get 20,000 calories from clean food. You know,
right. That's what I'm saying. So I'm like, what do we do? How do we eat pancakes and syrup?
We're gonna be I'm gonna be having like crepes with like chocolate sauce in. I'm gonna put like jam and sugar and stuff like that onto my oats. I'm gonna have like maybe a pizza, Ben and Jerry's ice cream, McDonald's. It's just crap.
So,
I'm gonna try.
Here's the question, because y'all McDonald's. So like, I feel as if I was over there, I would eat your McDonald's over our McDonald's, because y'all actually have, like, because of the laws over there, they actually protect y'all foods versus over here in the States, they tell us to go fuck off and die slow. So like, we're eating paste and you're actually having still the real burger still. So I do want to separate that for the people over there. Like, if we want to have real food or semblance of it, we got to have either Chick-fil-A or Wendy's.
Yeah. Wendy's is nice. I like Wendy's.
Wendy's is dope.
Wendy's
only two spots.
I always thought when I went there, their burgers are good.
Oh no, I love Wendy's, but I just grew up on McDonald's, and now I'm not to be able to have it because it's literally like
it's the golden arches, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna not eat the golden arches.
Have you seen the new documentary on I think it's on Netflix or on Now TV? About McDonald's.
No, I didn't. Which one? Super Size Me Too?
No. It's not a Super Size Me one. It's about the competition they used to win. They did like the Monopoly competition, I think.
Oh, when they were cheating motherfuckers.
Yeah. I've only seen a few of the episodes, but it's pretty interesting. They were just like giving it to like family members and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was like this whole scheme. It was like this one dude, and it was like people who knew him, who everybody was in his inner circle, and I guess they would kick him back some bread, and they move it on over.
I think the whole of lockdown has just been about watching documentaries on Netflix. I've watched loads. I watched the Tiger King. I watched the Michael Jordan documentary.
What do y'all think of? So when you say Tiger King, what do you think of America? Like, what is
that? Carol Baskin.
No, that's a good question. That's honestly a good question.
Joey Exotic for president. There you go.
You look at it like
that.
Wow.
I mean, it was my mum told me to watch it. She was like, "Oh, you'll love it. Watch it." And I put this first episode on. I was like, "Tiger King. All right, I'll watch this." And you just get drawn into it. It just gets more and more like down a rabbit hole. But I couldn't turn it off. I was just watching episode after episode.
And that's the thing. You're like, what is this? Like, why am I watching it?
Why am I still watching it?
The part of it that really was like, yo, he really has no care in the world to me was when he was burying his husband, one of them, because he had two people. And
damn shame.
He was explaining his balls in front of this guy's mother. With a gun on his waist.
You got to chunk it up to people like that. You're like, all right, you got it. Yo, I don't know what it is, but you got it.
But then when you look at it, like then the second moment was when do y'all remember when he was like shooting at her? He was playing around, but he was like shooting at her feet, and she was like, "I, do you never, son?" The whole time I'm looking at it, I was like, "Wow, this is other countries. Amazing. This is when they think of America, they think of this shit."
Well,
you know what I mean?
Luckily, I've got a lot of good American friends, so I know it's not all like that.
But you're just wild sometimes, like.
There's I think we could say that all over the world. So it's one of those things. But it's certain states I think are interesting over that.
Yeah, that's a fact. Sure. Like the southern states, they can do basically whatever they want. It's literally the Wild West now. Texas,
no, it is.
They don't give a fuck.
Texas. I don't even know where to put Texas. Texas should it's not even part of the U.S. technically.
I want their gun laws. It's the only thing I want. I just want Texas gun laws. It's the only thing I want. We should be able to go get a gun, put that shit on the hip, and just move on your day.
I've only been to Texas once, but they did a good barbecue down there. You got to find the good things.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they definitely do.
So do you hunt over there? Do you do anything like that?
We don't hunt in the UK. My father's from Iran, so he used to hunt. And I've been hunting that side of the family, but it's not something I'm really particularly interested in. To be honest.
Okay.
But yeah, that side of the family did. Over here, they do like the fox hunting and stuff like that, but it's getting, there's so many people against it now. It's happening less and less. But it's very hard to have a gun in the UK. You need a license. There's got to be a legitimate reason for it, like a farmer or something like that. But very few people have guns over here.
That just
felt like that in New York. So
certain places in New York, you go upstate, we still fighting a good fight. We're trying to, at least up here.
Yeah.
But regardless of that, listen, Laz, this has been a pleasure. I know it's late over there in the UK. For y'all who don't know, they're 5 hours ahead of us, so we are recording late. We appreciate his time, but we know you got some things to do. But
can you just give me one more question though? One more question.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So your top 5 strongest men of all time. Before we go, Laz, you gotta set off the world with this one.
Okay, in no particular order then, just off the top of my head. I think you've got to have Bill Kazmaier in there. That guy was just the intensity that he had. He won 3 World's Strongest Man titles in a row, and he was then banned from World's Strongest Man for 3 or 4 years.
Because he was too damn strong.
He just kept winning. They were like, this is no good. We need a new winner. You can't come back. So, his strength, his physical strength would have been competitive even now. And he was winning worlds in 1980, 81, and 82. So, to still have the kind of strength needed these days from that generation, he's got to be mentioned in that list. I think you have to mention Mariusz Pudzianowski. He's won more World's Strongest Man titles than anyone. He really dominated for a number of time. So he's got to be in that list. Brian Shaw definitely has to be in that list. Brian Shaw is, when you look at results, arguably, I would have him as number 2 in my list. I would put Hafthor Bjornsson in there as well now. I think that, the last couple of years, he's just become one of the absolute greatest strongmen. In terms of he's won so many titles again. He's broken records and he's still competing. So he has the potential to do more still. And without question, the greatest for me is always Zydrunas. Big Z. The length of his career, the titles that he's won, the records that he's broken, and the way he's gone about it. He's just such a humble man, along with, being an incredibly strong man. For me, in his prime, I still believe he would be winning shows now in his prime. Obviously, age has caught up with him. He's had injuries. He's not the man he used to be. I remember the first time I beat him, I was upset. I was disappointed that I beat him because it wasn't really beating Zydrunas, It wasn't beating Zydrunas in his prime. It was a man that was past it. And to me, it was like a cheap win. It wasn't beating the guy. I've beaten him a number of times since, and it's, but when he was at his best, he was unbelievable. So for me, that would be my top 5.
For people out there who don't know, there are 2 people I want to make sure you understand how ridiculous they are. Brian Shaw, who is the strongest American to ever walk the earth. You can't argue it. You can't say nothing. He's a fucking freak.
Yeah.
Then the motherfucker Zydrunas Avikas.
Those two are incredible. Incredible.
And then they were competing against each other. So if one didn't win, the other one won. That's how crazy this shit was.
I asked this same question to Zydrunas when I interviewed him, and he rated Brian as his toughest opponent. So I think that says it all.
That says it all, people. That says it all. And listen, we won. We appreciate having Big Laz over here because, we did, yes, we may have ended it, saying how strong and ridiculous Zydrunas and Brian is. But y'all remember, the big man Laz here has been at that World's Strongest Man stage 11 times. He's the Ultimate World Strongman Champion 2016. He's been Britain's Strongest Man 2 times, UK Strongest Man, and he was Europe's Strongest Man as well. We appreciate you, my good brother, for stopping on by.
Not only that, he's the first UK Black and the Berry guest. So you are the ambassador.
Excellent.
You are the ambassador of the show.
Yes.
Listen, our UK ambassador.
I'm representing you guys over here.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, y'all. Listen, if any of y'all want to go, holler at Big Laz to get yourself a workout. He can handle anything with strongman, powerlifting. If you maybe want to even get a bodybuilding, give him a shout. He'll help. He'll holler at y'all. If enough of y'all use the Black and the Berry code, Berry Gang 1, maybe we can have a conversation with him. So y'all do us that favor. Y'all do us that favor. And go ahead and use that code.
Yeah, I like that. Big
Let's do it,
difference.
guys.
You know what I'm saying? We need enough of y'all. Help us help you. But
Awesome.
I am Dean. That is the Madman Los. That is Big Lodge right there. His handle is going to be, in the description below. And thank you once again, big homie.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much for having me. Really enjoyed it.